I want to say call Allah Yahweh by Shemi Hawashai by Shema Kakadash, Brakati Hawa, Brakati Hawashai, Brakatara Kakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone that, of course, continue to teach me this truth and hold well. Shalom to my fellow Akim, Shalom to the hopeful elect. So, today's video, I wanted to look into this guy here, Benny. I'm not going to say his last name, we'll just call him Benny. Now, Benny has a very long history. He was a soldier at once upon a time. He joined after the 6-Day War, which is against the Arabs in Israel. Of course, he has a lot of military experience, special forces raids, But I wanted to start off from the beginning, where he went to New York. And was it New York? No, I believe he went to Massachusetts, and he went to, see right here. After graduating from Massachusetts Institute of Technology with a Bachelor of Science, a Master of Science, he became an economic consultant for the Boston Consulting Group, where then he moved back to Israel. Now, hold on, is this thing still on? All right, now, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I recommend you watch this movie, 9/11: The Missing Links. They prove a connection between 9/11 and the Amaleks, that the Amalekites actually did 9/11. So before I get in and start digging into the University of Massachusetts, let's get a scripture or two. This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. It's playing upon tables, These guys are the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. And even the colleges are wicked as well, which I'm going to prove when I go look into it. And I'll show you. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7. Chapter 7, verse 16. And thou shalt consume all the people which Yahweh thy power shall deliver thee. Thine eyes shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto thee. Thou shalt say in thine heart, these nations are more than I, then how can I dispose them? Thou shalt not be afraid of them, but shalt well remember what Yahweh thy power did unto Pharaoh and unto all Egypt, the great temptations which thine eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders, and the mighty hand and the stretched out arm whereby Yahweh thy power brought thee out, so shall Yahweh thy power do unto all these people whom thou art afraid. Once again, playing upon tables. I have no reason to be afraid. This guy is a elite, high-level devil, man. Don't be afraid of this guy. This guy's a freak. On this free time, man. If you ever hear about what these Masons do, the rituals they gotta do, they gotta eat shit. They gotta eat shit. They gotta have sex with animals. They gotta have sex with donkeys. They gotta let a horse run a train on them. It's all true, man. It's all true. Look up this video, Ex-Master Mason exposes the Freemasons. And now that's a pretty good starting point. Alright, so let's start off with University of Massachusetts. Alright, let's see where we're going to start at. Well, I guess we can start with a basic rundown. They got a bunch of campuses, a bunch of different places, made up of a bunch of other schools like most colleges are. And let's start off first with, we're going to skip that actually. We're going to start off with the first leader, the first president of the school, Henry French. So the way Massachusetts University was set up was that it was actually established during the Morrill Land Grant Act. And let's see if I can pull it up. Here we go. Sponsored by Senator Justice and Moreover, Vermont, an act donating public land to several states and territories which may provide colleges for the benefit of agriculture and the mechanic arts, marked the first federal aid to higher education, but the government's recognition of its obligation to provide schools for its future citizens dates from the beginning of the Republic. All right, and we're going to go look at the misuse of power that went on. The Morrill Act committed the federal government to grant each state 30,000 acres of public land issued in the form of land scrip certificates for each of its representatives and senators in Congress. Although many states squandered the revenue from this endowment, which grew to an allocation of over 100 million acres, the Land Grant Act laid the foundation for a national system of state colleges and universities. In some cases, the land sales financed existing institutions. In others, new schools were chartered by the states. Major universities such as Nebraska, Washington State, Clemson, and Cornell were chartered as land-grant schools. State colleges brought higher education within the reach of millions of students, a development that could not help but reshape the nation's social and economic fabric. So as you can see, colleges were first created to shape, they say reshape, they were created to shape the nation's social and economic fabric. Pretty much colleges are brainwashing facilities. You send your kids there, and whatever the government, the ideals that the U.S. government embodies, they're gonna push that to the kids, aka white supremacy, which was heavily pushed back then because this was passed in 1862. 3 years later, slavery would end. So of course, slavery was still around in this time. So they push heavy white supremacy. They push that the black man is a slave, that he's a dummy, that he isn't worth shit. And now, just because they say, oh, we changed now, people still want to send their kids to college. Really, you shouldn't send your kids to college. If you have the ability and you can make a business and you can give your kids work, that's much better. That's what I'm working on. If I can, because I like to make comics and whatever. If I can and I can make it a way for like my children to like assist me in some way, then I'm gonna do that. Instead of sending them off to school where they're gonna learn about, homosexuality, learning that every race of people is your friend, learning all this nonsense and baloney. But that's pretty much how the school started up. It's a land grant school. So now we're going to go into the first leader of the school, this guy here, Henry Flagg French. Not a whole lot to say about him. He had a lot of high-ranking positions, very high-ranking Edomite. Let's see. No, I want to see his career. There we go. Yep. He was a postmaster in Chester. He practiced law. Of course, he was the president of the Massachusetts Agricultural College. Then he got an honorary Master of Arts degree. That's actually very interesting. I didn't read that the first time. What a lot of these Masons do is that they give honorary degrees a lot to people that are members of the Brotherhood. Like if you're doing the rituals every week and you're moving very quickly, they'll give you honorary degrees. Now, you can see here, right, Nelson Mandela, right, who this guy is another Illuminated One puppet, right, and Gracie Markel, which I don't know much about her, but she's probably also another Illuminated One puppet. She probably pushes a lot of feminism, I can kind of tell. These two were given honorary degrees. Now that kind of proves that this University of Massachusetts is a piece of evidence that this university is, of course, ran by Illuminated Ones and Freemasons. Let's make sure we prove that about Nelson Mandela. Let's look at his ring. I know he has a ring somewhere. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go pause. I'm gonna come right back. Alright, I'm back. But once again, this is a bit out of, the scope of this kind of video, but you look at Nelson Mandela, this guy was definitely a devil for sure. You don't get to become president in this world unless you're screwing somebody or someone's popping you in your butt cheeks, man. You just don't. And look at that, he shows off his ring here, right? Now, of course, I can't find this ring anywhere. They're not going to allow me to. But, it does have some resemblance to this one. These are just some Freemason rings. Kind of looks like this one. I pretty much tried to look for ones that are a black ball, but you're not going to find that. But more than likely, this guy here, oh no, that's not him. It's Morgan Freeman. Yeah, this guy here, Nelson Mandela, more than likely a member of the Boule, which is, that's the black, elite wing of the Illuminated Ones, of the Masons. For sure, he's more than likely a member of those guys. But let's keep it moving on this guy, French president. Now, what's important about French, which also proves that he was more than likely a Mason, a member of the Illuminated Ones, is his son, Chester French. And this guy designed the monumental statue of Abraham Lincoln. And let's just scroll down to his works, right? You got all these. But more importantly, the one that's really the most damning is here, the alma mater, the bronze statue at Columbia University. Now, GMS, the eldest in New York, Tahar, and the other brothers, they made a video about Columbia University years ago, and they talked about the skull and bones that's there. But that raises the next generation of elite. But I'm not going to really go too much into that at the moment. But just lightly touching on it. That is Athena. This thing here, the alma mater, is an owl that's like right around there somewhere. And that's supposed to represent Athena. Now, proving that it's not BS and I'm not making it up. See, scripture, the goddess Athena holding a scepter, crown, an open Bible, and a torch symbolizes wisdom and learning. Now you see that? That's the New World Agenda. That's clearly it right there. They're showing you. That's what these devils want to do. They want to take Greek mythology and combine it with the scriptures. Well, not really combining with the scriptures. They want to pick and choose scriptures and make their own thing. That's what these devils are about. When you read in the Bible, they covered the faces of the judges thereof. We're the judges, and they covered our faces. They painted the likenesses of their images, and that's in, I believe, 2nd Maccabees. They painted their images within our books and said that, oh no, this guy's white. They say, oh, King David was white. Brody doesn't mean black. See what I mean? Then they forget that King David was a Judite. And even when they go into things like that, they forget that Judah is just a Greek version of the word Yahweh. Like Yahweh is the original name. He's not Judah. It's Yahweh. I can't bring that up, man. They ain't gonna listen, man. You bring that up, they're gonna walk away. All right. Once again, that's pretty damning evidence that, of course, Henry French and his son Daniel French, of course, illuminated ones who set up the school. But let me see. We're gonna go into modern day. So this is the current chancellor of Massachusetts, or UMass, University of Massachusetts, Marty Meehan. Now, I try to look up some things on him, but I haven't really found out much about things like his religion. I don't know what his religion is, and I don't really feel like looking up videos of this guy. But more than likely, he's a Jew. We're going to go into that a little bit later. First, starting off with here. Look at the list. This guy is clearly a high-level, illuminated one. He worked on Subcommittee of Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security, Courts, the Internet. Look at this guy. He's the founder of the Manufacturing Task Force. This guy even has his own law, a bill that he passed. If I could find it here, Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, which was pretty much just, to reform how money is spent on campaigns. So, this guy's clearly high-level Edomite, high-level illuminated one puppet. Let's see here. After completing law school, he served as Director of Public Affairs to the Massachusetts Secretary of the Commonwealth and Deputy Secretary of the State for Securities and Corporations. So this guy was on the up and up, man. First District Assistant District Attorney for Middlesex County. Once again, man. Oh, innovative priority persecution policy that targeted hardened criminals. I wonder what those hardened criminals are, man. More than likely, this guy was targeting Jakes, man. He was targeting Jakes. Because a lot of those guys that are quote-unquote hardened criminals, a lot of them are not guilty. A lot of them are innocent. But, of course, there was something in particular that I was looking for. Yeah, here you go. How much money this guy raised, man. In 2004 congressional race, Meehan raised $3,170,733 and spent $459,977 of that, thus adding $2,710,756 to his cash on hand. His opponent, Tom Tierney, raised $30,953 and spent $30,406. Over in 2004 race, incumbents of the House of Representatives on average raised $1,122,505 compared to $192,964 for the challengers. So once again, all that money, that's not just coming out of the people, man. They're giving him this money. Because this guy, once again, is for sure high-level illuminated one. So here was a problem that happened here. I'm not going to really go into it. I don't really feel like reading the article. But, just skimming over it. There was a DBS protest, and this DBS is apparently a boycotting sort of thing, boycotting movement done by pro-Palestinians. And of course, it's against Israelis. And let's see how Mr. Marty Meehan reacted to this. I guess we could read this one. Now let's go look it up. Marty Meehan, Jewish. No, this is a good article. This is a good one right here because it's a blog. More than likely by, here you go, Times Israel. Probably written by a Jew. Some of the most problematic elements in his statement. We want to urge you to resign. So BDS is not the malevolent force on college campuses that Sabah Swami suggested. It was because many Jews are involved in this movement. It's a form of some of our best friends of Jews of Asian. Because once again, these Jews always play that. The letter does not just address the data provided by AMCHA initiative, documented connection between BDS resolutions and acts of hostility toward Jews on college campuses. Bullshit. People who know what's going on at Umass Boston won't put too much stock in the letter. Hold on, I'm going to pause. I'm going to come right back. In 2018, 3 finalists who applied to serve as the school chancellor dropped out after a faculty committee declared that none of the three applicants worthy of the job talk about dodging a bullet. The school is looking for a new chancellor. Maybe they should put the job posting. Yeah, once again, this is obviously a pro-Israel article, but let's find to retract statement criticizing BDS. Chapter support your right to speak on political matters of import. But once again, I don't really feel like looking into this too much. But this guy here, the leader, Mr. Marty, what did he do? He jumped quickly to the side of the Amalekites, immediately. Let's see a little bit more. To urge universities to rule whether entities universities need to promote an activist agenda. It's also troubling that these 40 administrators and faculty at Umass Boston are signing such a letter which disparages the identities of the majority of Jewish and Zionist students on the Boston campus, which once again, ruled by high-level Edomites, man. And it clearly has a connection also to Columbia, because the leader, the owner of Massachusetts, of U Massachusetts, the first president, his son made that thing the alma mater for Columbia. But look right here, you got more anti-Israel graffiti found at UMass, and this is recent. We'll maybe look into this real quick. From River to the Sea and Free Palestine. Oh, that's something else, man. Because for sure, the so-called Jews, the false Jews, the Amalekites, they for sure run this university. And this guy bends to the tune of Amalek. Alright, so that's all I got for this video. This is going to be the first part, kind of exposing this guy, Mr. Benny, little Benny. So what we got so far is that the school that he went to for college is 100% owned by the Masons. It's definitely a heavy illuminated one school. The first president, his son, did the alma mater and sculpted it. So, for sure, heavy illuminated one presence down at that school. We investigated Mr. Marty Meehan, and we proved also that Marty is, he kowtows to the Amalekites, which most Freemasons do, because the Amalekites are high up in there, man. For sure, man. They get those high-ranking lawyer positions. And as we've seen with Henry F. French, they get to be executives, and they get to really rise through the illuminated one. Truth be told, only Edomites and Amalekites can get to that high level, 33rd, I believe it's called the 33rd something, 33rd something, I can't remember it right now. 33rd degree in the Freemasons. Like, only Edomites and Amalekites, which, Amalekites are Edomites. Only Edomites can get to that high position. That's why you don't see Jake reaching the same level of stardom or the same level of status. Especially in Hollywood, you don't see Jake reaching the same status, the same level as Brad Pitt. Alright, so that's all I got. All blessings be to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua by Shem Rakakadash. Alright, Shalom.